What's going on, everyone? So, Eurobasket. Seen all kinds of players. Luka Doncic is just dominating, and he's been the best player in Eurobasket. He clearly looks like the best player in the world. He's advanced to the quarterfinals. Now, he is going to play Germany, so I do think it's probably the end of the road for him there. That might just be the Laker fan in me kind of hoping for that, because like I've talked about, last thing I want is him to go all the way, win it. Although it would be cool, it would be fun, and I do think it would create this buzz and narrative, but I don't necessarily want that because I want him to get rest before we go into training camp and get into preseason stuff, and I have my concerns, obviously, plus, the risk of injuries and stuff like that, so on and so forth. But you're seeing a lot of guys in the woodworks kind of coming out and coming to the forefront, and random role guys that are stepping up and looking good and looking big, and obviously Eurobasket is not the NBA. It doesn't have it's different rules. It has, different athleticism, different everything, right? It's almost a different sport in a lot of ways. But one guy in particular, you have this image that is going around. And I'm not going to lie, it looks exactly like Alex Caruso. Now, even though that this image looks exactly like Alex Caruso, he doesn't really look like Alex Caruso. Here's another image of what he looks like. But who he is, the Lithuanian Caruso that's going around right now. He's one of the star guards for Lithuania. He just came off of a 19-5-9 game, 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. And his name is Arnes Velika. Hope I said that correctly. Probably butchered that, but Arnes Velika. He is 6'5", just like Alex Caruso. Right? He got the headband, just like Alex Caruso. Very similar kind of stature and posture in that regard. He's 25 years old. He'll be 26 here shortly in December. So he's young still. Hey, he's a guy that's really made a name for himself. In all honesty, right? I know that part of this is a little bit of a bit. Part of this is like, no, hey, he is actually showing some real capabilities out there in Eurobasket, and has been one of the better players in Eurobasket. Now, during last season, right, him playing overseas, he averaged 12 points, 4 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1.5 steals per game with half a block. So the defensive side of things, the offensive side of things, a playmaker, a guy that is skilled. And he's shown a little bit of athleticism, ability to get up there, hammering home, stuff like that. And his game is very Alex Caruso-esque. It's very reminiscent, at least at the Eurobasket level, right? Now, obviously, is it to the level in which if he was in the NBA. He did go undrafted back in 2021, so he did make an attempt and effort, but so did Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso was one of those gems that the Lakers found. Alex Caruso was a bit of a journeyman and kind of floating around teams before he found his home with the Lakers, really kind of emerged and set the standard that became Alex Caruso, right? And he's kind of been able to maintain that ever since. So maybe you could look at somebody like the Lithuanian Caruso to potentially come in and fill a void. But to get off of, the video in general kind of fits into that. So it's not entirely a bit. I did want to talk about the Lithuanian Caruso because that photo is crazy. It looks exactly like Alex Caruso. So I did obviously want to talk about that. But to kind of make this a video, I do, like, one of the things that I'd love to see the Lakers potentially do, and I'm surprised teams do it, just not to the level and the extent that I kind of like the Lakers to do, like tournaments like this, and maybe it is happening, we just don't know about it, because the Lakers do have St. Jean and a couple others out there for Eurobasket, but kind of focused to help Luka Doncic, right? There are guys that are really kind of showing this level of just competitiveness in the second toughest tournament in the world next to the NBA and one of the better leagues in the world outside of the NBA. Got a lot of NBA players. We've seen this kind of wave and surge of European and foreign players kind of injecting themselves into the NBA. And look, Luka Doncic, I think is probably going to be the best player in basketball this season. I think he's going to go on an MVP level run. If he plays all 65 games, I truly believe Luka Doncic is going to win the MVP. We've seen Jokic win several. We've seen Giannis, Joel Embiid, right? We've seen guys that are forward players really kind of dominate and taking over this league, and a lot of even some of the young guys coming up. I mean, Lauri Markkanen looks like, he's Wilt Chamberlain out there in Eurobasket, which also you can make an argument because he's not doing that in the NBA, Eurobasket. So again, you have to proceed with caution when you're scouting and seeing these players, but there are some players that have been out there, right? Lithuanian Caruso is one of them that I wouldn't hate the Lakers maybe taking some flyers on. You see these tournaments, you see these events, you see these guys for all these various countries that are all kind of just balling out, right? Like, look at Yabusele, right? Gershon Yabusele, right? He was drafted, I believe he was drafted, but played 2 years, I think it was for Boston, and then was out of the league for like 5 or 6. And then he had that run with France, gets an opportunity, and now he's got like a real contract, and he's dropping 30 and doing all this other stuff, right now in Eurobasket and everywhere else, right? France was just eliminated, but he was excellent, and he's done the things to the NBA standard. I mean, we had talked about, man, should the Lakers look to add him? Right? There are those guys that are out there, those gems that are out there in these Euro tournaments and stuff, and in these, different leagues and stuff, that I'm not saying you have to go rush and sign. I'm not saying just go run to the door, but I wouldn't, why not bring, or maybe the NBA should even incorporate something where, why can't you bring in a handful of foreign players that that looked good or you had an eye on, right? Because you got Olympics, you got FIBA, you got Eurobasket, you got every year there's some type of, a foreign tournament or something where you're kind of seeing, professional NBA players as well as guys that, have fallen out of the league, right? And guys that are trying to make the league or trying to take the next step, that whether again, it's a rule implement or something where you find that gem. There's kids that are out there that are 22 years old that are, that were playing professional basketball at 15, and maybe they're not, to the level of Luka, where Luka was a literal prodigy, or a Tony Kukoc or something like that, where it's just dude, these guys are, Ricky Rubio is another one that kind of comes to mind, where they were they weren't the norm, right? But you don't necessarily have to find a superstar. Finding just those guys that can shoot, be Swiss Army knife guys. The thing about Eurobasket and Eurobasketball period is the fundamentals. Right? Finding guys that can be those kind of Swiss Army knife level guys that can kind of come in, play roles for you, be rotation guys. Right? I don't know why a team like the Lakers or other teams, period. Spurs will do it from time to time. Usually with a guy or two, you'll just see a rant. You're who's that guy? The Spurs will end up bringing him in on a training camp deal or something like that. Or, you get some random guy on a two-way where you're what? Or, Spurs will draft and stash guys and stuff. But it'd be nice to kind of see the Lakers, especially a Lakers team that has talked very heavily about they want to be this organization that grows, develops, and builds players. And I'm not necessarily saying that it has to be, Lithuanian Caruso. It could be, some of these other guys. Try to find these guys that are being overlooked, that maybe they don't even think that they're good, good enough, or obviously they have to be eligible and all that stuff. But I'm saying obviously you can't get some 17-year-old kid, but you can get a 22-year-old. That's hey, or, Lithuanian Caruso's 25. Bring him in on a camp deal and just see. What if he's really good for you? What if he is kind of a wish Caruso for you? And it's wow, man, Lakers might have found it again. Because there's a lot of guys. I mean, Austin Reeves went undrafted, right? There's a lot of guys. Alex Caruso took time to really kind of get his footing in the league. Yabusele is a guy that really took some time getting his footing in the league. He was actually in the league and ended up falling out of the league. And now he's a guy that could start on many teams. And so you don't know who that gem is. Right? Obviously, you need to make sure you're doing your due diligence and looking into these guys and trying to find those diamonds. And we've seen the progress. Because before, it was teams like Dallas and Spurs. And there was only a handful of teams that were really genuinely scouting foreign and European players. Well, now you're seeing more and more teams do it, but I still don't think we've made that swing fully. Right? Like, if I'm the Lakers, why not create this? Why not create this sort of like European department or like foreign department, right? Like where you have like especially with Mark Walters, where you have this just kind of this department that's just solely there to scout European and foreign players and try to get these diamonds in the rough. You have scout teams and stuff like that, but their job is to, scout everything, right? Like, why not have dedicated, like, hey, here's the US, here's, Europe, right? Solely for that, rather than like, hey, we heard about this guy, let's send you out there to go take a look at, like, create these different, like, for example, Lakers don't even have a pro scouting department. They don't, right? And what that is, for those that don't know, like players that are in the league, right? They don't, like, most teams have a department that goes like, hey, Yabusele, just using him as an example, he's really good. And it's not just beyond the stats. Here's X, Y, and Z reasons why we should bring him. How many free agents have the Lakers signed that turned out to be total duds, right? And the whole like, oh, it's the lights are too bright for the Lakers stuff. Is it that, or is it just the Lakers are going off of reputation alone? Right? Like, these are the kind of things that I'd like to see the Lakers kind of improve and correct over the years. And you have these guys over in Eurobasket and in other areas, Lithuanian Caruso, that I think could come in, slot in, maybe play a role for you. And if not, then it's no biggie. Like, again, bring them in a training camp deal. Doesn't work out? Hey, good luck to you. Maybe another team, maybe another team is interested, right? Maybe you can find a home, or maybe you're like, hey, this guy's good, but not quite where we want or need him to be. Let's sign him to our G League roster. Let's bring him in the G League, right? Like, those kind of things to try, again, find those diamonds in the rough, especially with the new CBA. You have to create and adapt and change and do things. You need to kind of have this cycling through, of just like, finding those diamond in the roughs that are going to be really cheap, that teams aren't really looking for, that teams aren't really expecting. And can you kind of be that team that kind of pioneers a lot of that? Right? You got Mark Walters now. Kind of use that. I might go more in depth in this because I kind of really like that back end idea. So I might go more in depth in it in a later video. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? Hey, Phil, what are your thoughts? One, do you want to see the Lakers sign a, Lithuanian Caruso? Do you think, like, it's just a Eurobasket run? Is there anyone in particular that has really stood out to you during Eurobasket that maybe you would love to see the Lakers maybe take a flyer on? Either way, I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.